On this video, my wife and I are going to try to begin reading through the Bible, and I'll be reading a verse in Hebrew with an English translation and then a commentary, sort of like a running commentary. So we begin, verse 1. Bereshit bara Elohim et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Notice the text begins by showing God as the sole creator. There was no female and male bringing creation into being like in the Babylonian account, but God is there alone, and he's calling it into being, the whole universe, the heaven and the earth, which means everything. Verse 2 reads, V'ha'aretz hayata tohu vavohu v'choshek al penei tehom v'ruach Elohim merechefet al penei hamayim. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Notice three clauses here. The earth was without any form, and it was empty. Secondly, darkness was upon the face of the world ocean of the deep. Thirdly, the Spirit of God, God's presence, and you could render this was hovering or soaring. It's been rendered differently. I would tend to render it was hovering over the face of the waters. So what we'll see on the first 3 days is God bringing, out of nothing. The earth was tohu vavohu, formless and empty. He's beginning to put form. And then on the next 3 days, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and he begins to put form, and he begins to bring light, and the Spirit of God then hovers over the face of the waters. And I think as we look at this, we're seeing God creating light from the very beginning, and that he is the sole creator hovering over the face of the waters. And my mind, as I think of a text like this, I go to the New Testament, where God himself, or Jesus himself, is the creator of all things. We're told all things were made by him. Then as we go to verse 3, it reads, Vayomer Elohim yehi or vayihi or. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. So the first thing that God creates is light, and light appeared. And again, light goes back in the New Testament to Christ, who is spoken of as the light of the world. And as I've said many times, in the New Jerusalem, there's no need of a sun or the moon because Christ is there, who will give light to the New Jerusalem. Verse 4, Vayar Elohim et ha'or kito, vayivdel Elohim bein ha'or uvein ha'choshet. And God saw the light that it was good, and God caused a division between the light and between the darkness. Notice God caused a division between light and darkness, and he saw the light that it was good, and he creates this division. And we're going to see this will become day and night. So in the next verse, verse 5, Vayikra Elohim la'or yom, v'lachoshek kara laila, vayihi erev vayihi boker, Yom Echad. And God called literally to the light and said, your name will be day. And to the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, day one. Notice God is on the throne, and as the king, he is creating night and day. And again, this goes back to God creating time by creating night and day. He is the author of all of that. Then we come to the second day in verse 6 and following. Vayomer Elohim yehi rakia b'toch hamayim v'hi mavdil bein mayim lamayim. And God said, let there be a division. Let there be, I should say, an expanse, like a hammered out disc in the midst of the waters, and let there be a dividing or a division between the waters to the waters. So God slides the disc between the waters and creates the expanse, which will become the heavens. And then we go on to verse 7, Vaya'as Elohim et harakia, and God made the expanse, Vayavdel bein hamayim asher metachat larakia, uvein hamayim asher me'al larakia, vayehi chen. And God made the expanse, and he caused a division between the waters which were from under up to the expanse, and between the waters which were from above to the expanse. And it was so. So God again is sliding the discs, as it were, between the waters and creating the expanse, creating the rakia, which becomes the heavens. And again, we're looking at God's creative power to do this, a strong statement of monotheism as we're going through this great text. Vayikra Elohim larakia shamayim, and God called to the expanse and said, your name will be heaven. And there was evening, vayehi erev vayehi voker, yom sheni. There was evening, and there was morning, day 2. So God now, on this second day, creates the heavens and divides the waters from the waters and causes the expanse. The rakia, which is used interchangeably for Hashemayim, or the heavens. Then on the next day, we begin at verse 9. Vayomer Elohim yikavu hamayim mitachat hashemayim el makom achad v'teira hayavasha vayehi chen. And God said, let the waters be divided, let the waters, be gathered together from under the heavens unto one place, and let the dry land be seen. And it was so. So God is causing the waters to go to one place. And I think it's a collective singular here, to go to the place where he wants the waters to be, the different oceans and so forth. Vayikra, verse 10, Elohim layabasha eretz, ulemikveh hamayim kara yamim, vayar Elohim kitov. And God called to the dry land earth, and to the gathering of the waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. So he creates now dry land, and he creates the seas. Verse 11, Vayomer Elohim tadshe ha'aretz desha, Esev mazria zera, Eitz peri, ose peri lemino, asher zarovo al ha'aretz, vayehi chen. So God said, let the earth put forth grass, herb, yielding seed, and fruit tree bearing fruit after its kind, in which is the seed of it, upon the earth. So two types of seeds, grass seed and seeds within a fruit. God is the source of fertility, and we're seeing this. And then, verse 12, Vatotse ha'aretz desha, eseb mazria zera leminehu, ve'et soseh peria sher zarovo leminehu, vayar Elohim kitov. And the earth brought forth grass, herb yielding seed after its kind, and tree bearing fruit, in which the seed is in it after its kind. Notice again, God is creating different types of trees and different types of seeds, showing his creative power. And so there was evening, Vayivoker Yom Shelishi. There was evening and there was morning in day 3. And again, as we think of the New Testament, we're looking at Christ, who creates all things. And he is the creator of a spiritual fertility, so to speak. He creates a new birth, a spiritual birth. The New Testament will apply some of these ideas to Christ in the first part of John. So I'm stopping there. This is a great passage, these first 3 verses, looking at God in his great creation and his creative activity.